Caleb here from Threefold, and today I'm going to give you a rundown on this guy, which is the OSEE Megamon 15.4 inch production monitor. Let's get into it. We have been using OSEE monitors now for about a year. We purchased their 21-inch monitor. It's a 1500 nit brightness monitor. We've really loved using that monitor as a director's monitor. So when OSEE reached out to us asking us if we'd want to do a review on this, we said, of course. We've really loved the 21-inch monitor that we purchased a year ago, and we figured that this might be a nice alternative size for us, considering the 21-inch can be a little bit big for quicker, more run and gun shoots. And so far, we're really liking it. Hopping into what you're going to get with this, it's pretty basic, but you do get a few basic essentials with it that I think are really nice compared to some other monitors. So the 21-inch came with pre-cut foam that you could use with a 1600 size Pelican, which was really nice, but you did also have to buy that Pelican after the fact. Now this one comes with this travel case. From the pictures, I thought this looked a little cheap, but now that I've had it in our hands, we've found that it's actually a really nice solid case. It's a lot more rigid than you'd think. I'm not sure what it has around the outside, but it's really rigid. So you're gonna get the case with it. The other thing is it comes with the V-mount plate already attached. It comes with a cheese plate mounting on the back, which is really great. That was another optional item that we had to purchase when we bought the 21-inch. So it's nice that it comes with that already installed in the back for mounting receivers and stuff. The other thing it has is the monitor feet. When it's in the travel case like this, it does not have them attached. And then the last thing is the power cable and then a strap that hooks onto the side. Pretty basic, but all the essentials. Moving into the case itself, like I said, this was one of the things that looking online, seeing this monitor for the first time, I didn't think I'd really like it. I'm not usually a fan of softer kind of cases like this. This one is a little unique. Like I said, it has a pretty rigid frame around the outside, which is really nice. And then it has the integrated sun hood. Now this is 1000 nits, so it is usable outside without it, but the sun hood is a really nice addition, and having it built in and so easy to pop up and get it running makes it really nice. The other monitors, and the 21-inch specifically, can be a little bit of a hassle sometimes to get that connected and everything. It's not bad, it's just not as quick as something like this. So the front of the case, you're gonna find two latches. Once you unclasp those, it just pops up and holds into place using Velcro, which I found to be actually pretty secure, and it makes it really quick and easy. The monitor is held in place, preventing it from falling forward with just a little perimeter border, which works pretty well. On the back, it has a zipper. When you open that zipper, that flap can fall all the way vertical, but they do also have a piece in there that you can disconnect and connect it. It's a really clever design, really, to make a makeshift table of sorts, and it prevents a lot of the pockets, the stuff in the pockets, from falling out. So that's a really nice design. So there's a couple little pockets inside that, and then there is one zipper pocket on the back side that allows you to put some smaller, more flat accessories in, which is really nice. On the bottom of the case, you'll find two rubberized feet. I don't feel like they're very stable. As I said before, it can cause the case to tip a little bit, somewhat related to the balance of the case. But in addition to that, you will find what is a baby pin receiving hole. Now, this doesn't have a lock on it. It just allows for the baby pin to pass through the case and into the actual receiver on the monitor itself. This is a really solid piece that just allows you to pass through and mount directly to the monitor. The other thing is the mounting for receivers. What we ended up doing is using a cheese plate that we permanently mounted to the top. This does require drilling 2 holes into the case, but it's pretty small holes, but it allows for mounting receivers on top outside of the case. In this situation, we end up doing this just because with this receiver specifically, it's a little bit too big to mount inside the case where the cheese plate is on the back side of the monitor. So that is one option for you. It still makes it a pretty quick setup monitor, which I think is really great, much quicker than some of the other larger monitors. I think it's converted me to actually liking a case style like this and a quick setup case like this even more than a hard case for a production monitor like this. So the overall build quality of the monitor itself, we found to be pretty decent. Really no complaints. I believe it's some sort of plastic on the outside, but it's a really high density, feels really solid. But it's less of a concern for us because I really don't imagine this monitor ever leaving this travel case, this kind of quick setup case. I think it'll be living in it for the majority of the shoots that we do, which is really nice. And so really no complaints, especially considering the price point of this monitor. I think that the build quality is totally acceptable and really solid. Moving into some of the features and the tool set of this monitor, it is a 1000 nit monitor, as I said before. One thing that we've found is finding high brightness production monitors that are larger than 13 and 15 inches can be a little bit tricky. There is a plethora of 7-inch and under high brightness monitors, but there's not a ton of high brightness monitors over that 15-inch range. I find 1000 nits to be kind of that transition point where it goes from being an inside only monitor to being viewable in daylight. Now, if this thing is in direct sunlight, you're going to have a little bit of trouble, but it is still viewable compared to some 500-600 nit monitors. And especially when you pair it with the sun hood on this guy, you're really not going to have any issues using this outside, which I think is great. Now, moving on to some of the tools and kind of what you can expect with the functions of this monitor, it really has what has come to be, I consider, the standard set of tools that you'd expect with any production monitor or filmmaking related monitor. So you're going to get the ability to import LUTs, you're going to have focus tools, exposure tools, all that kind of stuff. So really nothing new or too crazy with that. It just has your standard set, which is great. And while I didn't do any in-depth tests with the color of the monitor, I can say from the bit that we've used it, the colors look really accurate. There's really no issues with that. You can always tune it a little bit to your liking in the menu system. OSEE does claim that it is 100% coverage of the sRGB color gamut. So overall, really solid. So the menu system on this monitor and a lot of OSEE's monitor I find to be pretty basic. It's fine, it gets the job done. We don't find ourselves digging into it a lot. There's certainly ones that are, I would say, better. Small HD has done a great job with the OS on their monitors, but they have dedicated, I know, a significant amount of time to it. And if you're looking into other companies like Small HD, you're going to be spending a pretty hefty investment for a monitor with similar functions, specs-wise, as this. So to summarize, I'd say that, the menu system does leave a little bit to be desired, but considering the price point of this monitor, I think it's totally acceptable. And while basic, it's still very functional and gets the job done. For connections with this monitor, you're going to get 2 SDI inputs, an HDMI input, and then 2 SDI outputs, as well as the AC in and DC in. So the DC in will be for the direct current that hooks straight to the V-mount, and then the AC will be for your standard wall charger. For the SDIs, it is worth noting that it is loop through, so if you plan to use this monitor with a receiver that's using HDMI, you're not going to be able to send that signal out through the SDI. You're only going to be able to utilize that SDI out if you're using the SDI in. The two things that make this monitor really stand out for us are the outdoor functionality of it and then the portability. And both of those tie in hand with really how they designed this case. We personally haven't used a monitor with a case quite like this. And so the first one being outdoor use, that 1000 nit brightness really hits that mark for being able to functionally use it outdoors, and then integrated with a sun hood makes it a great option for outdoor use, which I really like. And then the other great thing about it being useful for outdoor is the fact that it has a case built around it. It really instills a lot more confidence in me to use a monitor like this, knowing it has a protective case around it. And while I don't know what the weather rating, weather ceiling of the case is itself, obviously you're not going to be using it in a downpour, but I would feel confident using this case if there was snow or even a light drizzle, just knowing that it has a case around it to protect the monitor itself. Now, the other one is very similar in that it's just super portable. Setting up this monitor takes no time at all. With the case itself, you're not having to ever pull it out of the case, pack it back into the case. It's as simple as popping up the sun hood and powering it on essentially, and then maybe popping a receiver on the top. Compared to our 21-inch monitor, this thing is significantly faster to set up, and I really see us using this one a lot more for shoots where we're having to do a lot more run and gun. We have a lot of locations and we're needing to move quickly because setup is so much quicker. Now, I do think that we'll continue to use the 21-inch monitor for studio shoots. I think that size is still really nice. But when you have something as portable as this, it's really hard to go back to something that has a much more tedious, longer setup time to it. Now, finally, the price. What can you expect to pay for a production monitor like this? Now, it's currently listed at $899, and that again includes the case, the cheese plate, the battery plate, the feet. It's kind of the basic setup. And for that price, I think it's a really reasonable buy. If you start doing some digging, and if a larger production monitor above 15 inches is what you're looking to invest into, you'll be hard pressed to find anything that's decent below that price range, especially when you consider having features such as SDI. So I think for that price, it's a really solid buy. And I know for us, once we made that jump from using 7-inch monitors to larger 15 and then the 21-inch monitor, it became a really nice thing to have on set. Especially, you know, even for focus pullers, having a larger monitor than a 7-inch can really make a big difference. And then if you have multiple people, such as clients, plus directors on set, it's nice to have something a little bit bigger so that a few people can see it and it's not so crowded around a 7-inch monitor. If you're looking for a larger style, 15-inch or above production monitor that doesn't break the bank, I think this is a great monitor to go with for the feature set that it has. Now, that wraps up this video. If you have any questions about this that I missed, feel free to leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.